So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the food and drink industry, £2 billion off, £2 billion worse off than Brexit, and it's only going to get worse once the once that Aussie meat comes in. So food and drink sales to the European Union have plummeted in the first half of the year, leaving the industry £2 billion worse off since Brexit. It's important to stress that these aren't teething problems; these are here for the long term, because these customs checks aren't going anywhere unless, of course, the UK gets an SPS agreement. Then things will change, or we rejoin the single market and customs union. That's not going to happen. So food and drink sales to the European Union have plummeted in the first half of the year, leaving the industry £2 billion worse off since Brexit. Not to forget the fact that even if we did rejoin, these supply chains will change potentially permanently. Where say for example, if they were buying, I don't know, meats from the UK, say the French were doing it, now they might buy it from somewhere else, like Norway, Finland, or some other country that's big in agriculture. Ireland, for example, is another one. And that's a permanent change potentially. Because why would you buy from a country where there's no guarantee you'll get the supply you need? You just wouldn't do it. It's stupid. That's why they're going to start buying from other countries. I think Ireland will be a huge beneficiary of Brexit in that regard. Their only issue will be the Northern Ireland Protocol. Analysis of trade during the first 6 months of 2021 by the Food and Drink Federation, obtained by Politics Home, showed food and drink exports to the EU were 15.9% down on the same period last year. Last year when we had, COVID was around and stuff. At least from March till I'm gonna say August. I can't remember when the lockdown was, but point being is that economically we weren't doing too great, but we were still exporting a lot of food and drink to the EU, and that's gone down by almost 16%. Labour said the shocking figures blow apart the government's myth that trade disruption is a temporary problem and the UK and EU adjust to stringent new Brexit barriers. Let's not forget that EU exports to the UK are doing fine because there aren't any customs checks on our imports. So big win there. Also, as the Labour Party, what would they do to resolve these issues? And I'd hit cricket. So let's move on. The news comes after Tim Weatherspoons was forced to apologise to customers after its beer supplies became the latest casualties of the UK supply crunch. And that's not us trying to buy beers in from France. It's just us trying to get it from a brewery in England to a pub in England. You wouldn't think that's too hard to do, but apparently it is. The hospitality giant confirmed that it has seen supplies of Carling and Coors beers hit by disruption, not teething problems. Meat and dairy products have been the worst hit by post-Brexit bureaucracy. It's true, the M&S guy keeps moaning about it. And, the fact that he's trying to sell sandwiches with ham and cheese on it, definitely not a smart idea. But yeah, he is. The Food and Drink Federation analysis found, due to tough rules for British businesses selling goods of animal origins to European customers. These rules aren't necessarily tougher for any third country trying to export into the EU. These rules are what the rules are. Be the same for the Russians and I think the Ukrainians as well. It's just we've fallen foul of them because we did Brexit. That's not a tough one to figure out. So I would be careful about phrasing from the London Economic. Beef exports, even not Brexit exports. Beef exports to the continent were down 24.1% in the first half of 2021 compared to last year. Again, obviously, COVID has, it's factored in slightly in there, but you can see how much of an impact Brexit has had. That even during the pandemic, we were still selling more kind of meat to the EU than we are this year. So that's down by 30, so bear with me. So beef is down 24% compared to last year and down 37.1% compared to the first 6 months of 2019. Cheese exports were down 26.1% compared to 2020 and over a third compared to 2019. And, Liz Truss, she was saying we import 2/3 of our cheese. That's a disgrace. Well, you might have to eat a lot more of that now, dog, because we're struggling to export it. So, those cheeses that, I don't know, maybe people in the EU like smoked cheddar or something. I don't know what kind of cheeses Britain makes. But yeah, the people in the EU that have a taste for it, probably British citizens who live abroad, to be honest, immigrants who live abroad, probably buy that sort of stuff. Well, you're going to get less access to it, so you might have to buy these smelly French cheeses, which I'm not the fan of. The loss in sales is hitting small SMEs, small businesses hardest, because they're finding it more difficult to deal with post-Brexit paperwork. And we've talked a lot about the Cheshire Cheese guy, where he's had to move production to France because he can't export his cheese from the UK into France, or the rest of the EU, to be fair. The figures blow apart the two myths ministers have been spinning for months. Emily Thornberry has said, first, they show how they are not temporary teething problems. I mean, anyone could have told you that. They are the direct consequence of the holes in Boris Johnson's Brexit deal, the holes in Brexit in general, really. And second, they show the growth in our food exports around the world will never come close to making up for the losses with Europe, which is true. The Australia deal is going to make it harder for the food and drinks industry because we're going to be importing more cheap stuff from Australia. So it's going to make it worse for them and cause a bigger trade deficit with Australia. So that's this article done. A £2 billion loss is huge for the industry, especially if you're a small business. You'd have lost your entire export market, which is disastrous, and that's going to cause more problems because if you have less stuff to sell, it means your business is going to slow down. It means staff cuts and potentially you go bust. So you're going to have to find something else to do as well, which probably doesn't pay as well as the business that you had. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.